Hi, everyone. Today is Wednesday, June 11th, 2025, and this is the International Outreach Think Tank meeting. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now so we can go ahead and read the Bibbins. All right, Caron, if you would go ahead and read this for us.
Okay, the Bivens Declaration. This meeting is private, bearing false witness, misrepresentation, and posting inflammatory rhetoric in public forum is forbidden and shall be addressed in an appropriate manner. To eliminate all conflict and false allegations, is there anyone in attendance in today's meeting that is a member or agent of any law enforcement agency or public agency of the federal, state, city, county, or township agencies present? Is there any response to the Bivens decision for the first time? Is there a response for the second time? Is there a response for a third and final time? Anyone who is here under false pretenses, anyone who is working for any foreign government, including the territorial United States or municipal United States, anyone who is being paid or coerced to be here, must fully disclose their presence and purpose now, or leave the premises or this conference call. If they subsequently show up as federal witnesses, they are discredited for failure to disclose. Are you now or have you ever received money or personal support of any kind from the intelligence community? Upon no response to this notice of the Bivens decision, this meeting shall now proceed.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, and if you guys don't mind, I'm going to set us off with a little prayer for this evening. Divine Creator, source of all that is, we call upon your infinite love and wisdom to surround us this evening. We step into this meeting with unwavering faith, knowing that we are divinely protected, guided, and blessed beyond measure. We surrender our fears, our doubts, and our worries. We release all that that does not serve us. We let go of resistance, and in its place, we welcome the radiant light of divine favor. We are covered by an impenetrable shield of divine protection. No negativity, no fear, and no limitation can touch us. We are surrounded by light. We are guarded by love. We walk in divine safety wherever we go. Tonight, we declare that blessings are flowing into our lives and our assemblies effortlessly. Every door that was once closed is now opening. Every obstacle is now dissolving. Every delay is transforming into divine timing. Breakthroughs are happening right now. We are stepping into reality where abundance, joy, success are our birthright. The universe is aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in our favor. Divine Source, fill us with your wisdom and let our thoughts be inspired, our words uplifting, and let our actions create ripples of kindness and love in the world. We declare that this meeting be filled with grace, miracles, and unexpected blessings. So say it, so be it. Okay. All right. Okay, we're gonna we have somebody coming on. Oh, we got a Zoom meeting. Okay. Old business. Okay, so I'd love to get more assemblies scheduled for the American States Assemblies podcast. I'm in the works with New Hampshire right now, trying to get them scheduled in the near future. But if you guys could go back to your assemblies and just let them know, we only have, I don't know, I guess there's 23 assemblies represented right now. And that's not even half of our state assemblies. So it would be great if we could get more people, that would represent their state. If you want to go back to your state assembly and in your meeting, bring it up. And if you guys want to, since if you're serving in your outreach committee, if you want to be the one that coordinates that effort, you have my email address. You can gather a group of people from your assembly and just have say, okay, such and such state is ready for a podcast, an interview, and these are the people, and then we can move forward from there by, setting up a date. And I will report that there's been an assembly that when I first interviewed them, they only had 4 people on their assembly. And after the podcast, they grew to about 28 people. So it is a good tool to kind of get the word out. Everybody's able to then take the podcast, a little digital link, and blast it out to their network of people. So it really, I think, is a great tool to help grow your assembly and bring it to the world stage. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that? All right.
I
Moving.
do. I have a question.
Yes.
So someone's creating a podcast and they speak back and forth about this, and then they record it and then just put it out.
Yeah. So did you receive the agenda for this meeting?
Sorry, I'll just back off. No, I just had a question.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm going to answer you. I
Oh,
just, I'm going to refer you to that because, yes, I've about, I don't know, I guess 2 years ago now, I began this endeavor to interview all the state assemblies to give them a platform. And you can find, I upload those interviews on BitChute and YouTube. And if you received the agenda, the links for those channels are on there. So you could view all the interviews if you'd like. All right. Anybody else? Okay. Uh, and I did want to say that Anna's approval for the American Government Resurgence Project, if there was any confusion, it can be resolved with Articles 5378 and 5366. So I would say that you guys take a look at those articles, and hopefully that will clear up any misconceptions. Um, any questions with that?
Could
All
you
right.
could you repeat those numbers or put them in the chat?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. When I get a chance, I'll go ahead and put that in the chat.
Thank
Sure.
you.
You're welcome. All right, and I wanted to go down to, so our shared resources, at the bottom of the agenda page, in bold, I have the resources. We have a Telegram page for outreach. We specifically say to keep the conversation to just outreach conversations, sharing maybe a resource that you have. Maybe there's something that is related to outreach efforts. I know that there was some people that were sharing, what other people share normally on Telegram pages, maybe Anna's articles or, great information. We just didn't want to bog down the Telegram page with that kind of information that we're receiving already from the other Telegram pages. We wanted to specifically keep it for just outreach, but the Telegram page is on the bottom of on the bottom of the agenda listed under resources. And then we also have our Ice Drive accounts, one for education, one for outreach. And it's Bart Drager from Oklahoma and Vicki Van Wert from Pennsylvania and myself that have access to upload brochures, business cards, newsletters, whatever kind of outreach marketing initiatives that you guys are using and you want to share them with other states. So there's a bunch of folders. So if you go onto the link, you'll find all of those shared resources. Okay, and that link is at the bottom of the agenda. It'll stay there as a resource for everybody. And then I have the link for the podcast that it gets uploaded on YouTube and BitChute. And then we also have the 1776 Union YouTube channel where Louise has been uploading these international outreach think tank meetings. So if you want to watch the playbacks, you can see it from there. And then she also has videos of the progress of stuff that she's working on with the project. And then, there's another resource that I'm going to add to this as well, but I think we're going to cover that in new business. So before I go on, does anybody have any questions on any of the old business? Okay, all right. So new business, I thought it'd be a great idea to mention, overcoming obstacles during the assembling process. And there's a great article that Anna again recently wrote. It's 5369. I'll post these articles in the chat, like Annette asked. And, I think it's just kind of a nice reminder that, we're all trying to figure stuff out and that we need to show up in a humbling way that, without accusing people of, doing, something fraudulent or, they're very strong accusations. And I feel like it doesn't serve our assembly to use that kind of language. And that if you're going to do so, there is a proper process to follow to do that. And it's not appropriate to be coming on, international calls and accusing people of, committing fraud. So I just wanted to, keep that in the back of your minds, and just also when we do come to the table and we do have, some conflicts, that's going to happen. It's just normal. We have to show up with kindness and compassion for our fellow men and women. Keep that in the back of your mind that, we're all children of God, whatever you believe, creator, whatever you want to call them. We are just all children of God, and we're here with the same goal in mind and the same intentions. And we're all learning. Some of us are a little bit more advanced than others. And, we just have to be kind and compassionate to each other. And so, that's just kind of like just a nice reminder. I know that we're going to get into some topics in a little bit that, I think are a little hot and heavy, but I think that this is a reminder that if we don't show up with kindness and compassion, that, there's going to be, a consequence for that. And so just keep that in mind moving forward. Anybody have anything they want to add to that? Feel free to just say, may I? All right. Okay. So I am going to the next bullet on the agenda. I'm going to kind of leave this when I give Louise the floor to talk about her project. But I'm going to go on to the next topic, which is there's a woman, very talented woman, by the way, I will add. Her name is Valinda Lynn Wood on Georgia. She was on the Georgia podcast, and she's created a very all-encompassing link tree. And I have it on the agenda. I'm going to keep it on our resource page. I also told her that I'm going to add it when I do the American State Assembly's podcast. I actually, if you look in the show notes, I have everybody's podcasts and PKTF website, their information, and all sorts of other people. If there's a TikTok, I'll put that in there. But I'm going to add this also to the show notes so that she can get some exposure, because she's put together such a well-rounded and all-encompassing link tree. And it's there for all of you to view. It's on the agenda. She also has a shop where she's created products, t-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, and she's created it for all of the states. And so it's beautiful to go on there if you wanted to purchase anything. But I just wanted to thank her for putting that together. I feel like we all have been waiting for kind of like a one-stop shop to click on and find everything that we need. Just kind of makes things a little bit easier, I feel. Um, and that's all I have about that. Does anybody have any questions on that? Oh, Annette, your hand's up. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes. I was wondering if we're gonna have a source for our civil flags that we can get, because it's getting harder and harder to get them, and we have a lot of wind here and we keep going through them.
That's a good question. I mean, I didn't look really hard at the products that are being sold on the link tree, like what she's created. And I think I want to say that on the TASA website there, I believe there's a link to purchase civil peacetime flags on there too. I would love to see a civil peacetime flag that's made with really good quality material, because I agree in that they kind of get ratty, kind of hanging out on your house and the wind and I know here, we've got snow up in New Jersey, so we've got all the elements, and so it would be nice to have a more higher quality flag made. But I haven't seen that, but it wasn't because she doesn't have it. It was because I didn't do enough digging around.
Thank
So
you.
you're welcome. All right. Okay, and again, this next topic on the agenda is kind of a part of the American Resurgence Project. Louise had created a beautiful newsletter.
Meetings right now.
Louise? Oh, um, Louise is
Sorry.
That's okay. Uh, uh, Her newsletter is beautiful, and so, I had requested that, perhaps in that newsletter, um, that we could leave space for each of our state assemblies to kind of put our own information, like, maybe it would be a section to put, our officers' uh, email addresses or contact information, if there was a section in the newsletter um, that she could just leave for all of the state assemblies to kind of put something of their own and kind of make it their own. And so, I'm going to let her speak on that. And is there anything else, any questions or comments that anybody wants to make before I hand the floor over to Louise? All right, perfect. So we're going to go ahead and let Louise have the floor. Go ahead, Louise.
Thank you, Tammy. Sorry for all the noise traveling right now.
You're welcome.
Let me show my screen here. Tammy,
Yeah,
if you don't mind, you can let me know if you mind or not. I think more people would be interested in hearing my response to the webinar before I could even present anything about the Resurgence Project for credibility's sake.
sure.
I would like to take the floor and respond to that.
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm going to read a few pieces of information here because I've been getting calls and people been saying, did you do what fiduciary said that you did on the webinar? And I was like, I haven't even watched the webinar. What did they say? So I do know what they said now. So I want to respond with these 3 documents here. So there's an issue about what I did regarding the Ohio Assembly and a website development project. So on June 19, 2024, and this, I'm taking the time to do this because the fiduciary said some things on the webinar that she was informed of. So I want to provide the evidence of what actually happened and let you be the judge of what the truth is. So in June, I sent our marshal at arms this email. I said, yesterday, June 2024, this issue started January 2024. I said, yesterday, I was made aware of rumors, hearsay, and/or allegations about me related to my pending request for oversight. An assemblywoman from another assembly asked me if I had insisted that the Ohio Assembly purchase a website and cause a fallout among assemblywomen, men, when the assembly didn't do it. I responded to that allegation with no, and proceeded to explain what I insisted on. I have submitted to you my email evidence that contains what I insisted on with what I insisted on with my impending request for oversight. I have also attached it again below. Here's an excerpt from the email on January 2024. This is my request for oversight, January 2024. Quote, the software that he has built off of our intellectual property will be sold whether we buy it or not. That is only my assumption. Neither the banking committee or the IT committee can decide for the assembly how to spend assembly money or how to invest intellectual property, which both are in question here. What I am insisting on is that the assembly be informed of what we did with their intellectual property. A product was produced from that intellectual property. It is available for the assembly to see it. This person has valued it at $6,500 for the website and $8,999 with added iOS, Android resale value. It is $15,000 website, $25,000 with apps. Product that we can pay for a couple of ways. One, it will cost $1,500 for the website plus referrals for the assembly to own it for a single use, which Louise will donate the full amount so the assembly don't be out of any more money if the assembly is willing to give referrals. Two, it will cost $35,000 for the website and the apps for distributorship rights if the assembly want to have rights to distribute to the other assemblies. The software developer is from India, referred to us from this person, a national on North Carolina, for full disclosure. Here is the email of the developer's response to the assembly's concerns we took back to him from last meeting for each one of us to read and discern for ourselves his character. I have attached that email already in my report. Then I am insisting that the assembly is asked to take a vote. Everyone gets their one vote. One, yes, I want to see the product to decide what the assembly should do with it. Or two, no, I'm not interested in the product and will forfeit my intellectual rights to it. This is what I am insisting that the assembly should know. This would clear my conscience. This is how I would handle my own business investments. Now I'm going to state again my concern here. We have a fiduciary duty to inform the assembly of every point I stated because money and intellectual property is involved. This is beyond just the process of an idea that comes to a committee where it is voted on in committee, whether it goes to the assembly or not. We must disclose all the facts for an assembly vote. I am not trying to sell the assembly on North Carolina or this developer's project, although you know what my one vote would be. I am trying to be a responsible fiduciary and clear conscience, as we all are. Our IT committee chair, I said, these points are what I think would be prudent to present to the assembly. I was very specific in my word choices here. I will let you handle this, Chair. I will not speak on Sunday. Also, Chair, I'm going to again caution you to give accurate information. You stated above, quote, explain that it does indeed look better and maybe possibly function better, unquote. That is not an accurate statement. IT chair, what do you mean by, quote, may possibly function better, unquote? I would argue that Node.js would function better than the PHP, not possibly function better for one specific database, for our specific database purposes. In addition to the fact that the product is turnkey, not quote unquote Frankenstein, unquote, together, as you call it, which also makes it function better. We have 3 separate websites that we are quote unquote Frankensteining compared to the all-in-one turnkey solution. But that's my opinion, and I won't be arguing that on Sunday like I did with our assembly chair last Sunday. I will keep my mouth shut. I just caution both of you to give accurate information to the assembly. That was my response to our marshal at arms when I heard the rumors back June 2024. Now, another piece that I wanted to share was another allegation I heard on our fiduciary say, as far as indebting the counties. Now, January 2024, this was my IT committee report that I was going to present to the assembly, but was told that I could not add it to the agenda. Well, our assembly chair said they will not add it to the agenda, and did not want me to speak to the assembly. Well, this was my report that I was going to present to the assembly. In my report to the assembly about the turnkey software product, at the bottom, other IT considerations. We can't lock a county into needing to use any specific database type, i.e. MySQL, Oracle, DB2, PostgreSQL, to be able to transfer files of nationals onto their counties from our state's database. So, what database application will be best for us to use to give each county access to file transfer without locking the counties into any specific database requirement? This was my report to the Ohio Assembly that I was prevented from submitting to them from our chair. And I heard on the call, our fiduciary was told that I was trying to indebt the counties. So I wanted to bring that piece of information forward. And then this last piece, I just wanted to go ahead and share. This is when the assembly chair was telling me, when I asked to be on the agenda to present that report, the chair told me, this will not go out. You cannot insist on anything. The committee and the Treasury Committee have no specific agreement to review or recommend, or most importantly, not recommend. You do not have majority recommendation on the website. If you insist on attempting to cause rancor, I will stop it. Only a recommendation from the committee for a vote may be brought. Maybe our IT chair, you should just present a full report tomorrow and speak as our unelected chair. Then my response was, this is what I said. What I am insisting on is that the assembly be informed. Then I am insisting that the assembly is asked. That is what I am insisting, that the assembly should know. I am insistent that the assembly should be told these facts. I cannot insist that anybody do or say anything. I don't have the power to do that. We are free people. Sorry if I gave that impression. I can't think of a non-offensive word choice that expresses that what I'm trying to get across. I have already stated, our IT chair will give the report, and I have already stated that I will keep my mouth shut. I will collect all of what I told the IT committee concerning the OGA's intellectual property and submit it to the appropriate parties. I will let the OGA handle it. I cannot proceed in good conscience as a prudent man or responsible fiduciary without letting them know. This is what I'm trying to get across by using I don't remember what all that stuff is. Sorry for being offensive. So those 3 things I wanted to share because I know most people on the call would rather hear what my response is to what the fiduciary said on the call the other night.
Louise, may I?
Yes.
I also think we need to point out that there seems to be a bit of confusion. Uh, uh, Anna made a reference that there's only one peacekeeping task force, and I think there's some confusion with your terminology. You're using strategy task force, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but that is simply the strategic group and team of people that you are collecting to help with the work on the American Resurgence Project. Am I correct there?
Yeah, that's what it is. Mhm.
Okay, so there seems to be some misunderstandings that you are branching off and creating a different task force from the peacekeeping task force. And so I just wanted to be clear that there is no separate task force in the sense of a peacekeeping task force. There's simply a working group that has been called a strategy task force. And I hope that clears any misconceptions up there. And I'm sorry, go ahead, keep going.
I'm going to share this one last piece that I shared with our IT team when I was on it, January 15, 2024. Now, and all these things, pieces that I'm sharing with you all is in all the documentation that the oversight committee had to review to make their finding. So all this information they had to look at before they made their finding. This is how I see things. And this is, I'm speaking to our IT team as we're trying to decide how we're going to present the report to the next OGA meeting. I told them, this is how I see things. We have put ourselves in a precarious situation with the website developer, that's his name. We have handed over to this website developer our recording system idea and design, being the spreadsheet of the functions and process, which he has taken and created a recording system for us, giving him every right to sell it at whatever cost and to whomever he chooses. We have no right to dictate to him, to whom or for how much. By doing this, we have inadvertently created an opportunity for this website developer to acquire a monopoly in our referral market, which is all 50 states and all counties, if we don't make the right business decision right now and present a sound recommendation to the Assembly. We made a soft agreement with him for the payment option of $1,500 plus referrals. The website developer has been transparent enough to let us know the business decisions he is going to make to capitalize on the product he just created for us. I expect the developer will do this with or without making a sale to our Assembly. I would expect nothing less from a businessman. What would you do if you made a product, but your customer didn't want it? You would try to sell it. Our track record for recommendations to the Assembly don't look good to me. Number one, recommended what this Frankenstein model is to use with WordPress and connect a recording system to it using APIs. All 3 programmers we've worked with, there was 3 programmers, there's their names. All 3 of these programmers said that was not a good idea. Number 2, we recommended to hire an American programmer who fulfilled the letter of his contract, but broke his word to support us all the way through connecting the APIs, but ditched us. Were we taking his word for it, or did we put that in his contract? Number 3, recommended to spend $7,500 for a library of APIs that we don't know how to use instead of on a finished website that we can show for it, which is what 2 of us thought we were spending the money on. Where was the communication breakdown on that? On top of these recommendations, we keep telling the Assembly wrong information, telling them it will take unrealistic amounts of time to complete something. Don't tell them it should take 30 minutes to connect the APIs. They were told that Node.js is a new programming language and would be hard to find a programmer to work on it. No, it's not a programming language. It's 15 years old, so not new. Half America's websites use Node.js, and you can find plenty programmers listed on Upworks.com and Fiverr.com. I don't want to keep up this poor track record of garnering assembly support on recommended ideas that don't pan out. If we are morally conflicted about this website developer acquiring a monopoly in our referral market, then we need to own up to that, own up to it, because we inadvertently did this and can't blame anything on the website developer for taking advantage of it. We need to tell the assembly that we inadvertently did this and recommend a way to protect the states from this monopoly. It would not be morally correct to tell states not to buy from him. From asking the website developer questions, I discovered that buying distributor's license at the cost of $35,000 can do this if we include as the terms that all America is our distribution market. I see two ways to pay that. One, we can extend our international collaboration to more states who may want to partner with us in buying the software, particularly those states who plan on standing within the next 12 months. Or two, we can see if any Ohioans want to tap into their prosperity accounts and donate toward covering the cost. In my mind, the money is there and not a preventative factor anymore, since these two options have recently opened up to us. However, from a more positive vantage point, we can see this as an opportunity that we inadvertently created for ourselves and present this as the real business opportunity that it actually is to the assembly, to become a distributor of our own product at whatever price we determine. I yield. All the other documents that I have prepared for the day, for today, they were sent in with the link. We can also send it back in or put it in the chat. Tammy, if you could put it in the chat for everybody, because you will, if you haven't gotten it already with the link invite, then getting it now and reading what I sent out to the strategy task force and to the international think tank, reading my letter that says, here, let me just do this. Reading my letter that says, I'm telling, that article where I'm saying I'm telling, you will hear this is what I sent out for people to read with my supposedly calling out our incompetence. I'll put it that way. Calling out our incompetence as a government, and the incompetent behavior that I notice and am willing to point it out, because if this is how I feel, in that I'm telling, I took off my PKTF directorate hat and put on my sovereign in my own right hat to say what I needed to say. And that's what you will read in the I'm telling article. And that article is what prompted what all the conversation you hear coming out from the fiduciary and the Ohio Assembly and anywhere else that people might be asking you, did Louise do that? So I laid all this information, and you can contact me and I'll give you all this information if you want to have it, because this was adjudicated on the Ohio Assembly through the Oversight Committee. So it's public record because we're a government. So it's a case that was adjudicated, so it's public record.
Louise, may I?
Yes.
So from my understanding, after reading it, I got the impression that the reason why you were sharing all of this was because there seems to be some discrepancies in the process in which, information gets presented to the assembly. So from where I can see is that you were told that your information, that the report that you created based on this IT project. It was voted down on the IT committee. And when the IT chair presented it to the assembly, he didn't give 100% information. And so there wasn't a clear picture. You were looking to have it added to the agenda so that you could present your findings and let the assembly choose what to do at this point. And so from what I can gather, you're not trying to still push this matter because you're not even on Ohio anymore. You're on another state. What you want clarity on is this the correct process that our assemblies should be following? Because we need to get this right. I think that that's the impression that I got. Am I correct with that?
Are you talking about in my I'm telling article?
Correct.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you're talking,
A lot of things are the processes that our government are implementing and following through with are not correct. And so I'm in my sovereign capacity, I'm telling my government, no, that's not correct. That's not correct. That's incompetence. And I did it that way because one, I can't speak like that as a PKTF affiliate director. I cannot speak like that. So I had to come out of that official capacity and speak my sovereign mind to my government. And that's what I was doing, letting you know what I see was incorrect and we need to course correct this.
right. And I know, there was a lot of different discussions that were taking place with you using in your examples, you were using other state seals. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody that watches, that's on the call tonight and that also watches the playback, that they know that the seal wasn't being used for any official business. It wasn't being used for any marketing purposes. It was strictly being used amongst members, ASNs, to point out flaws that you see in the seals and looking for clarity. Is this correct or is this not correct? Because this is how I understand it, but maybe I'm wrong. I need somebody to really clarify this for me. That's the impression that I got when I read, your competency letter.
Yeah. So, and this is the letter we're talking about. The I'm gonna tell letter.
Mm.
That she's gonna put in the chat if you haven't gotten it already. And yes, I did. I laid it out here, and I did use seals down here. In my sovereign capacity, I used these seals in my sovereign capacity to tell my government that there's something wrong with these seals. Yeah, all these seals right here. And
We're not seeing what you're seeing on your screen because you're still sharing. You're sharing a different document on our screen, so you might need to do something different. Yes, now we can see it.
So yeah, so in this document here that I'm telling you, I'm going to tell, this is the document that I sent out to the Strategy Task Force and to the International Outreach think tank that prompted this whole discussion that the fiduciary is talking about on the webinar and the comments you're hearing back and forth. Did Louise try to do whatever they're saying that Louise tried to do? This is a document that prompted that. In my document here, the things that I said about my government being incompetent, I really can't say it as a peacekeeping task force official. I guess you can say it, but I wouldn't. So I had to put my sovereign in my own capacity hat on. Like I said here, I am taking my hat off as the peacekeeping task force affiliate director and putting my hat on as my sovereign self in my own right. Now let me speak. So in here, I told a lot of things where I saw our processes were wrong. One example that I used was the one that was the Ohio Assembly's process that was used, the oversight committee process that was used to review the documentation that I just shared with you and come up with the findings that they came up with. So I did use that information in here, and I used other examples that I saw was signs of incompetence that I feel like we need to go and check and see if what's wrong with this so we can get it right. And the seals that she was referring to, I use those seals right here. These seals aren't right. And if anybody wanted to discuss it, to tell me, yes, they are right, then tell me they're right, and tell me, well, how are they right? Based on the article saying it's land and sea, and based on the counties are not states of the union, the counties are union states. So our fiduciary just explained in the webinar 2 webinars ago, Wisconsin union state has all the lines for the county, and Wisconsin state of the union has no lines. She said it, and she's been saying it, and I'm saying it. So I was telling people, can we hear the fiduciary say this? This is not correct. So that's why I was using the seals, to show you what I was meaning.
Yeah, and I remember when when we were talking about this, because after I read it, I'm like, oh, New Jersey's on there. And I'm like, oh, actually, you bring up a good point. I don't think I actually thought of the fact that we're actually the state assembly. So we're technically not the soil jurisdiction, we're the land jurisdiction. And like you said, we're operating in the sea as well. But I think it would suffice to say just land jurisdiction, and that's something that we really need to clear up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There was a mention of Michigan Assembly. I might as well just touch on this too. I had communications in my official capacity with Michigan concerning a security alert that they called me about. And I spoke to them in my official capacity what I recommend that they would do. That would be right to do. And my recommendation was, you all will read it. Based on these observations, I would encourage our assemblies to network with the owner of this website to encourage him or her to continue and give him permission to use their state seal for information purposes only, not for commerce, and draft up that restriction in writing to describe what that would look like according to your state assembly. This is my recommendation. I put that information in there in my sovereign capacity to let you all know this is what I look at as appropriate for our government to do, not to go out and find everybody or notice everybody's using your seals and say, don't use my seal, and just leave it at that. It's your seal, so you get to dictate what to do with it. But at the same time, they're sovereigns. They're using your seal to help you. And that's what my point was by using this example. The guy was using the seal to help bring people home to the land, to the soil. And do you want him to help? Then encourage him to help. And this is the way you can do it. That's the point I was trying to make to the Michigan Assembly. Did I lose everybody?
No, we're here.
Oh. Y'all so quiet.
We just didn't know if you had anything else that you needed to say.
I think that's it, Tammy. Thank you for letting me have the floor to say that. As far as the Resurgence Project, we're launching in July.
Okay, fantastic. What were some of the things that you needed, I guess, clarification on in order to launch that?
Nothing.
Okay, so you got approvals on on everything. So when you say launch it, are you launching certain phases or?
We're launching the website, claimyourinheritance.info, with all the information that was approved already. And anything that wasn't approved, I will just, well, which isn't much, but I will either get Anna's approval for it, or I will launch it with it, or I will pause it, like take it off the website, or just leave it there and say coming soon or something like that. Some of those types of things. So one way or the other, we're launching in July.
Okay, sounds great. Was there anything that you wanted to present on the besides the fact that you're going to launch in July? Is there anything that you'd like to present with the project?
No.
No. All right, we're if there's nothing more that you want to share with the group about the project, that's exciting that it's getting launched in July. I think there's a lot of people I was seeing, and I think that this is probably why you're pushing so hard to make sure that we get our processes right and that we have our seals are correct and all these different things because when the banks open and we start getting a mad rush of people into our assemblies, we need to be prepared. And I think that that's, everybody is, trying to work diligently and is concerned with, are they ready? And so I think that it's really beneficial for us to kind of get these little conundrums ironed out and worked out before we get a mad rush. And so I think that's one of the reasons why you were pushing so hard to do that, because you want to go ahead and launch this project, which I think is going to help push our assemblies forward and present our government where we're competent, professional, and capable.
Exactly.
So, all right, I'm going to open the floor up to anybody else that may have some questions, maybe questions for Louise. And then, it's a short meeting. We could probably end tonight. So go ahead, guys. If you have any questions, you guys have the floor. Go ahead, Darren.
Thanks, Tammy, and thanks, Louise. That gives a bit of clarity to me. The other thing I just wanted to put on the table, so I did hear some talk in the last couple of meetings with Anna, trying to bring focus back onto getting the state assemblies standing and diverting attention away from the county assemblies. And I just want to say, we on Terra Australis have put a lot of focus into getting local assemblies up and running, or county assemblies, as you call them. And I guess I want to put on the record that has worked very successfully for us. And we haven't seated our assemblies, so we're still in the formation process. I would say we are assembled. We have monthly meetings. We kicked off having monthly meetings in each of our territorial states, and we've now done away with those. We just have a national assembly. We have a monthly national meeting, and we also have all of our local assemblies have monthly meetings as well, minimum monthly meetings. And because we've done that, we have a broad distribution of people who are actively engaged in bringing people into the assemblies, helping them with their paperwork, getting them status corrected. And while we're struggling for volunteers, we're finding that we are at least getting people coming forward from those assemblies as we get better at communicating the need for people to stand up and help. And my impression is that we're having a lot of success in that space, where perhaps America is struggling a bit because you don't have the people on the ground actually bringing people in and getting them into a room and sharing the heart space and the energy and the message. So I think it is very important to get people out in their communities, pulling people together and starting to form those county assemblies. And I just wanted to make that known, I guess. I certainly have learnt a lot more listening to those conversations about the importance of the state assembly and how that's our gateway back onto the land coming through from international jurisdiction. And it's allowed us to change tact a little bit in the last couple of weeks, and we've opened up the National Assembly a lot more for involvement and decision making. But yeah, we're going to continue to be focused on getting those local assemblies happening. So I yield.
Awesome. Thank you, Darren. Yeah, and I think, just to add to that is that Anna has said on multiple occasions, that as we come back to the land, we're simultaneously populating our counties. And so I think the fear with people is that if the counties start assembling, it's taking away from the attention needed for the state. But I've interviewed a few state assemblies that actually have county assemblies going, and they're doing just fine. I don't think that even if the people that were working their state assembly and their county assembly, if they stopped working their county assembly, I don't think their state assembly would be any further along, because I think that it's, you need the people willing to do the work. And like you said, Darren, that, getting people on the local level engaged and you're meeting, it's kind of like that. I think Michelle Ford talks about the book of the 100s or something like that. And it talks about how you're building out, starting from just even your neighborhood where you live, the houses in your neighborhood, and then you build out to the, maybe it's the development, and then you're moving out to the town, and then you're moving out to the county, and so, we're building upon, and, if you've got people that are willing to do the work for both, I don't feel like we should be discouraging that. And so I appreciate your input. Annette, go ahead.
Thank you, all of you, actually. Darren, that was some really good information as well. Tammy, you are making it very easy for us to learn, which is so important. I would concur with all of you that it seems like we have this fight going on between the counties and the states, and it doesn't need to happen. We are all supposed to be equal, and there shouldn't be anybody feeling that they're a boss over anyone else. And so for me, that's very frustrating because I got into the middle of that when our county was being very productive, and unfortunately has knocked the number of participants down by half because of the state coming after us. And it was now found out to be not true at all. And so it's destructive, and it wasn't helpful at all for the assembly. And I am a strong believer that each and every one of us brings something to this fight. We got enough people fighting with us on the other side. We don't need to be fighting with each other. So as Louise said, if we clarify things and we have these types of meetings that give us that clarity, it is so beneficial because we're just stepping into this role and going, oh my God, this is way more complicated than I ever thought, right? And so I try not to judge anyone and just say everybody brings something. So I really am greatly appreciative. And Louise, your demonstration or whatever of showing us all the documents was greatly appreciated. I've never lost faith in you for 1 second. You are a warrior, an absolute warrior. And so you give us inspiration to keep fighting for what is right and beat these de facto judges and all of their sheriffs that have gotten out of control right now, and everything down is so, it's so important. I would love to have a meeting that someone describes the differences in between the unions and the counties, and then now someone saying the counties were actually a de facto word and we're supposed to use kumatata. which reminds me of Lion King. Anyways, I don't, as just a woman stepping out of business world into this without your guidance, I would be completely overwhelmed just reading through the myriad of documents that I have to read through, besides trying to talk to the men and women that come in that are even more bewildered than me, that are asking for me for guidance. So without you, all of you taking your time and creating these environment for us to come and talk, I think we'd have way less numbers again, and we just can't afford to lose anyone at this point. So everybody, I'm in the fight with you. We got to figure out who we're fighting and keep focusing on the other side rather than ourselves. So I just wanted to say that as a hurrah to all of you. And Tammy, thank you for taking your evening to teach us all of this. And Louise, thumbs up. We all have a big fight ahead of us because we think this is tough. Wait till we take on de facto. And I yield.
Awesome. Thank you, Annette. Yeah, couldn't have said that any better. Very, very well said. And, I think, for me coming into the state assembly, I'm just so grateful. I'm just so grateful for all of you. Like we should be celebrating with each other that, hey, we did it. We're here. We corrected our status and we're figuring this out and we're working together. This should be something fun instead of pointing fingers at each other and getting angry and wanting to condemn somebody for making a mistake. I mean, that's really low negative energy. Like our banks are operating on 528 hertz. That's the calling, folks. That's the calling to get there. We have to get there. We have to open our hearts. We have to start resonating at 528 hertz. And that means loving on each other instead of condemning each other. That means listening with an open heart and have respect for each other. And if somebody makes a mistake, we kindly and respectfully point it out and are looking for remedy. Our first line of defense is when we have an issue with somebody is that we are to go to the man and woman, woman to woman, man to man, man to woman, and we are to, eliminate conflict and offer up a remedy. And so that's the process that we are called to do as American state nationals. That's our responsibility. That's our duty. And we have to, answer that calling. And we have to remember, how are we showing up here? What words are we using? Are we being kind and considerate to each other? Are we presenting facts or are we just presenting hearsay? These are things to keep in mind when we're having conflict with somebody or there's a disagreement. This past year I taught a debate class for my son. It was so much fun. And I thought, wow, I wish when I was in high school I had a class like this, because my son now knows how to take evidence and research facts and present them without using emotion, without getting all crazy about it and not taking it personal when somebody disagrees with him. And he could actually stay calm. And I'm not telling people to not be emotional. We are emotional beings, but when it comes to having an argument with somebody, we have to learn how to control our emotions, and we have to learn how to stick with the facts and show up with love for one another, especially when we correct our status. There's a lot of crazy people and chaotic people out there. I mean, riots going on. I mean, I don't know. I know Karen is on California and all the crap that's going on, and it's like, with all that chaos going on, we are supposed to be the eye of the storm. We're supposed to be calm in the middle of the chaos. That's what we're called to do, and not create more chaos. And the gossiping has got to stop. It's toxic to our assemblies. It's one thing when you go to somebody in confidence and you're looking for advice. It's another when that person starts gossiping to other people about another assembly's business. That has got to stop. And so I hope that, everybody on tonight's call, that resonates with all of you. When you just hear somebody, talking about somebody else, not because they're looking to get some advice and some guidance, but they're just looking to bash and smash other people. We're here to lift each other up and to help each other, because honestly, we don't have the answers. We don't have all the answers. We're getting there. We're trying to figure it out. And I think that that's what a lot of this turmoil that we find ourselves in, especially with Louise's letter, that ruffled a lot of feathers. And that's okay, but we need to remain calm. We need to understand and get clarity. We have to ask questions. We have to come to the table willing to discuss the problem, and do so with kindness and with love. And so, on that note, unless anybody else has anything else they want to say, they want to ask, I'm going to close us out tonight. And I will say that we will reconvene on, I have it on here, Wednesday, July 16th. Okay, so that's when we'll meet again. And so, again, thank you to all of you for joining the meeting tonight. I'm sending lots of love and gratitude your way. I hope you feel it. And I look forward to seeing you guys next month.
Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you,
beautiful night.
Tammy.
Thank you,
Good
Tammy.
night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Peace and love. Thank you. Appreciate you all.
Much love. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.